Welcome to the Net Zero Carbon Summit. Today we are joined by Sam Stockdale, Senior Vice President and Head of Sustainability at Link Logistics. Welcome to the summit, Sam.
Hi, Mary. Great to be here.
So before we get too far into the weeds today, let's get some background on you and kind of how you got started at Link Logistics Properties.
Sure thing. So I'm really excited to talk about our sustainability approach, where we are delivering practical, value-oriented sustainability to our 12,000 plus customers. But my background, I came to Link by way of JP Morgan, where I ran operational sustainability for that platform globally. Before that, I was the director of portfolio operations for Tishman Speyer, so a leading Class A developer of office space. So I was relatively new to the industrial asset class, and most of my experience was data center, office, and then retail at a similar scale as Link Logistics, as we had about 5,000 Chase Bank branches where we pursued a whole variety of energy efficiency and renewable energy projects. My educational background is a mix of engineering and finance or economics. And I think my experience has kind of allowed me to operate as a little bit of like a corporate chameleon, because I played a lot of different roles. I've worn all the hats. I've raised capital. I've done operations. I've run construction. So I think it's allowed me to be an effective sustainability officer for Link.
I mean, that's really kind of you have such a diverse background. It kind of lends itself nicely to that jack of all trades part that you are pretty good at.
Yeah, I think so.
So kind of jumping right in here, how can industries kind of effectively integrate sustainable innovation into their operations, kind of just beyond energy efficient things, kind of beyond just putting solar panels on the roof, but ultimately that provide or promote that overall environmental responsibility?
So for us, it all really starts with the data. Sustainability is a data-centric discipline. And when you consider Link's immense scale, 535 plus square feet, thousands of operating assets, really, we see the opportunity primarily based in the data. And our long-term sustainability strategy is a strategy of measure, reduce, and offset. And so right now, as a young company, we are in our measure phase. You can't measure without the data. So when we think about, kind of the jack of all trades, having experience in a lot of different disciplines, one of our primary objectives was to bring in key sustainability disciplines that help us understand how we measure all of the energy and carbon opportunity across our portfolio, and then marry that with disciplines across project management, energy and utilities, energy management, engineering, reporting, so that we can get a very good sense of how we can deliver projects and programs that yield positive environmental and business outcomes to our customers.
I like that. It's kind of that, it's the data first approach, like you were talking about earlier. It's one of those things that I've said it for years. Data never really lies. You can certainly manipulate it to say what you want it to, but ultimately at its core, it is there, and you can't just manufacture data. It's real. It's based off of something, and it's kind of the one thing that you can know to be true, a kind of North Star, if you will.
Absolutely.
So I guess one of the things you touched on was that you guys are in that monitoring phase, and one of the things that comes with that is the real-time data monitoring. How can the data monitoring and predictive analytics kind of help industries optimize more resource utilization and minimize that waste that happens a lot?
So I want to start a step ahead of the monitoring and the extraction of data for our portfolio. So there's really an institutional barrier to decarbonization in the industrial asset class. And this is called the split incentive barrier, and it's pretty widely known and well studied. But it basically means that most of our lease structures in the industrial asset class are triple net, which results in customers putting utility bills directly in their own name. So if you're a landlord and you intend to deliver decarbonization or sustainability programs to your customer, but you've given up control of the meter, you've given up control of your best lever for delivering that positive environmental and economic outcome. And you've also forfeited your ability to leverage Link's immense scale to the advantage of our customers. So it's really our strategy hinges on building out an amenity called Energy Solutions, where we want to ask our customers to allow us to manage utilities on their behalf. And when they do that, really what they're able to do, when I mentioned all these key disciplines, we've spent 3 years carefully building out all these different teams that can act as an extension of their own teams to deliver these decarbonization strategies that are unique to their properties. And so one of our first steps outside of building out my team and some of these pretty core disciplines that are rarely seen in net real estate businesses is we partnered with Carrier to allow us to deploy hardware at the site to extract high interval or high frequency 15-minute interval data so that we can uncover energy efficiency opportunities. Because if you think about our measure, reduce, and offset strategy, if we're going to be taking over utility accounts on behalf of our customers, we then become a steward of their operating expenses. So we want to make sure that we are looking at their unique operations, prioritizing any capital that we can deploy for their benefit to make sure that they are running the facility efficiently before we talk about renewables integration. We don't want to over green or over renew. We want to make sure that we're baselining correctly so that we can right size any kind of renewable instrument that allows them to decarbonize over time.
So I guess you touched on it before when you said that the landlords have oftentimes given up control of their meters and their utilities. Do you have any tips for how they might be able to get that back, or is it just kind of lease dependent?
It is lease dependent. There are many strategies for yielding control or at least getting access to the utility or meter level data in net businesses. One of the best known is green leases. We actually won an award to as a green lease leader from the Institute of Market Transformation, and I believe that we have over 70 million square feet of green leases executed as I sit here. So that's one of the main mechanisms that you can use to partner with customers to actually create an environment where you are able to aggregate and then analyze that energy and utility data. There's of course also Energy Star benchmark compliance. Like Mary, it's a big reason why we have a goal of becoming, or at least of benchmarking 100% of our properties in compliance markets. We actually, not only did we achieve that goal the last 2 years, but we were the first industrial landlord to ever be awarded Energy Star Partner of the Year. We have 10 million square feet of Energy Star benchmark certified space, which is more than the next 9 landlords combined in our peer group. And we continue to collect utility data through that platform. I believe this past year we collected almost 300 million square feet of energy and utility data. And so we can use some of the folks in our key disciplines. One of them is energy data and analytics to perform almost like a quartile analysis. So you can really understand who your top energy efficiency opportunity sites and customers are. Right. And then you can really harvest the most value right out of the gate for where you want to direct that energy efficiency capital. And so I think it does really start in the data. And there are a couple of mechanisms, but the tried and true ones are always going to be green leases and an Energy Star benchmark compliance.
I mean, they seem to work quite well for you guys. So you seem to be kind of experts in this area. I guess when it comes to maybe getting these leases or, being as successful as you guys have been, how important is this collaboration? Because you have so many different stakeholders involved. So you have everything, you have just so many. How do you kind of get everybody on board to these energy efficient ways and, into the sustainability mindset? Because that's a lot of people to get on board.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's the most important and probably the hardest part of the role when you're a sustainability officer, because you've identified correctly. It's not just our customers; it's our leasing and market officers. It's our property management team members. When I gave you the statistic that we collected 300 million square feet of energy and utility data, we worked in partnership with 200 of our peers at Link in the property management group to actually harvest that data. Yeah, and we work continuously with the hundreds of leasing and market officers to execute green leases and explain to customers that aren't familiar with green leasing clauses why this is important for both of us. It's not a landlord requirement. It's an amenity that they get so that we can turn that data around and provide it to those customers to say, hey, we think that we can save you money. And so So that's kind of why I want to go back to really the what I first said, which is this whole theme of practical, value-oriented sustainability. I think when my experience has always been, if you lead with the economics, it is much easier to get stakeholders on board. And our program, because we are very focused on the basics, the one-on-ones, the things that save energy, we're very focused on delivering scalable programs to our customers. So talk about your LED programs, for example. Roughly 25 or 20 to 25% of the energy consumption load in a distribution sector or warehouse asset is going to be a result of lighting load, or more, sometimes up to 50%, depending on how that facility is being operated. So that's one program that we can deliver at scale, where we have a very clear understanding of the economics. And once we have the energy and environmental data, it's a little bit easier for us to go to customers and say, we believe that the economics are going to support a successful project for you. And so I think anytime that you are you are challenged to scale energy and sustainability programs by leaning into both the economics and then prioritizing what is most easily scaled into the field, what you can actually get done, that's where you're going to have the most success. And that's really been a cornerstone of our approach here at Link Logistics.
You guys have really taken that. We're just going to come in with the most logical solution, and it kind of almost doesn't make sense to go against it.
It's very easy to I shouldn't say easy, but it makes a lot of sense to at least focus on the basics at first. And so when I always talk about our flywheel, our energy and sustainability flywheel. And really, and of course, we want to do the more sophisticated stuff. Of course, we're focused on fleet electrification. Of course, we're focused on solar integration. Of course, we're focused on natural-based solutions. And in fact, we did a big deal with the Nature Conservancy last year, the first forward commitment to a carbon product executed by a real estate company. So we have pockets of these more leading strategies, but on the customer side, for what we think is scalable, the flywheel effect is a trust-building exercise where we begin with the basics, the stuff that we know pays, the stuff that we have high confidence that we can be successful in the field executing, and we believe that will build the trust with our customers that allows us to do more. And so at the end of the day, our flywheel ends with our customers wanting to lease more space with Link Logistics. And so as we think about, let's get the basics done, let's lead with the economics, let's build that trust with customers, let's allow them to come back and say, what else can you do for me? That allows my program to mature along with our customers in that partnership, and it ultimately drives them back to Link Logistics facilities to lease more space. So that's that's really, I think, the goal for us is to really provide a customer first experience where we can make our space more attractive to them outside of just the four walls and the roof.
Yeah, you guys have really taken that next step to be like, hey, you know what? We're a great place to be outside of, just a building that will provide your needs, but we're also very eco-friendly, carbon-friendly, and it's going to really help those that are looking to reduce any emissions or really just kind of hit some sustainability goals. So that being said, we are pretty much out of time today, but if someone wants to reach out to you about some anything, really, where can they find you outside the show?
They can find me in New York City, right by Grand Central Station on Park Avenue. If they can find me on LinkedIn, and I think it's Sam Stockdale, Link Logistics. I'll be there. So feel free to add me. I'll be interested to hear what kind of feedback you get.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining the summit today. Stay tuned. We have a lot of great content coming.